exemptions. Can you, and I don't know if you, Mr. Faraci, want to comment on it, but regardless, everybody else, because I don't know if it really applies to the biodiesel plant, but you're happy to comment. But I'd ask each of you to start, Ms. Bernstein, how you feel about that, and in the state of the estate tax. Obviously, it doesn't have that much effect on running your business, but it does. If something happens to you and you pass it on, it has a huge effect. But I'd be very curious about that and including it in the extenders.
It's very important that something be done about the estate tax. Obviously, for small businesses, everybody here represents small businesses. The businesses are very often family businesses that are passed on to children, and it's important to be able to pass that on without having to pay so much in tax that you don't even have the ability to pass on that business because it all has to go to the federal government. There also is some certainty that's needed here. The situation that we're in right now is one where the tax would be repealed completely for next year and then go back up to pre-2001 levels, which is, obviously an absurd thing, and something needs to be done before that happens. We're very hopeful that this is something that Congress will put on the fast track and deal with a permanent solution so that people can plan, and something that clearly is not as onerous as the levels that we were at pre-2001, which were really confiscatory.
I have a personal experience. My father died of a sudden heart attack at the age of 60 in 1994, and thank goodness my mother survived, because our family would have lost probably almost everything that he worked so hard to build in our organization. So we would have lost employees. Our family members wouldn't have had anything to go forward with. And our franchisees would have been very upset in that whole process as well. So I agree. I think we just have to find a permanent solution to this, and going back to the way it was is not the solution.
Your average biodiesel plant has an average of about 15 million gallons of production and less than 20 employees, which is a way of saying that they're small businesses. Mm-hmm. So to the degree that you could have an impact on estate planning and the costs associated with that, and then not being ready for that if you do get hit with the estate tax, it would certainly have an impact on some of these businesses in our industry.
That's a very good question. In the restaurant industry, 7 out of 10 restaurants are single-unit, family-owned, operated restaurants, and it has a huge effect on the estate tax in its current form. And yes, I totally agree with you. Something needs to be done.
Yeah, and it is complicated because it is a revenue issue. It certainly speaks straight to budget issues, and it is very complicated. For most small businesses, I think the uncertainty, and that may be the same thing with so many tax issues, not being able to plan, not knowing exactly what's going to happen. Finding some permanent exemption amount, whether that's $5 million, our micro business base, that seems to be the right amount that I think the NASE would support. But the key point there is finding some remedy that is permanent, so that people could then actually plan and then know what they're facing so that they can make the appropriate decisions.
We'll take